Why? What happened?
You know what happened?
What happened?
I held his finger and then shook it.
Hi guys, and welcome back to On the Fence. Genuinely, I'm recording. Hi guys, and welcome back to On the Fence. So I'm very happy to say that the Premier League's back. I'm joined by Jay.
Hi.
And Joe.
Hello.
To have a look back at the weekend's results and talking points, but also to look ahead at next week's fixtures and predictions for them as well. So we'll start off with Manchester United versus Leicester, which ended 2-1. That was obviously the first kick-off of the season on Friday night. What did you make of the game? Joe, what do you reckon?
So United started well.
Yeah.
And they done the typical Mourinho thing of sitting back. Leicester came into the game. Maddison started to pull the strings a bit, forcing good saves. And I think Leicester didn't do themselves justice in the end. I don't think the Luke Shaw goal kind of killed the game off, but Vardy popped up with a goal to give a nervy finish near the end. But
I thought a lot of Leicester's play was quite neat and tidy up until the final third. They made a few good chances. The Maddison one, like you said, in particular, but David Gea, of course, as he's always been. Man United's player of the year 3 times in a row. What do you make of that, Jay?
I thought Kelechi Iheanacho had one of the worst games I've seen from a centre forward. He did though. Let's be honest, he was terrible.
He was awful.
He was terrible. The amount of chances he had where he was through 1-on-1 or where he just had the chance and he just took 1-2 touch.
Yeah, that one where Eric Bailly just gets back just in time, but the ball seems to slip under his feet. And at that point, obviously, because I'm a Liverpool fan, I was wanting to score the goal, but he just didn't seem to get his touch right and stuff like that. So yeah, it was disappointing.
He's a weird one, and Iheanacho for last City, he looked like he had all the potential, but he's never really kicked on, has he? Apart from the FA Cup in Leicester.
How much did they cost him?
I think it's about 20 million, wasn't it?
About 25, I think.
Something like that.
But I think when Vardy came on, that was the difference, wasn't it?
Yeah. I thought you mentioned a good point to me, Joe. You said like you didn't think Maddison should have come off, and I do agree with you because I think he was one of Leicester's better players. Him and Gray and Chilwell on the left hand side, they were all linking up quite well. But yeah, I don't think he should have been taken off either. But what did you make of the debuts? You had Ricardo on the right hand side, obviously Maddison of course as well. What did you make of their debuts for
I thought Maddison was probably Leicester's man of the match. He had a few opportunities, obviously Fortnac was saving the first half. The game kind of went stale when Maddison went off, I thought. I don't think Rodrigo, he didn't stand out as much to me as Maddison did. But I thought Maddison would have kind of replaced Mahrez on that right hand side, but it seems to be Gazelle. Who's like the like to replacement. And as I said, it just kind of faded away from Leicester near the end. And so did the game really. I think United were happy to sit back near the end.
Yeah, I noticed that.
Vardy obviously produced a nervy finish, but nothing came.
I don't think either team really looked brilliant.
Yeah, I was just going to say that.
First 20 United looked alright, but even then Leicester had the chances. And then I think other than that, no team looked great really.
Yeah, I think something that United did a lot last season was, especially at home, which is quite frustrating for the fans. Is they take a lead, they take a 1-0 lead, and then they start sitting back. Do you know what I mean? Which is it's a bit unusual, but it seemed to work for them a lot of the time. And obviously in this game, it turned out that it did work. But I think that was a mixture of Leicester being very unlucky and very not really sharp in front of goal. But also, I just think United on the day, they've got too much quality on the pitch, and of course Luke Shaw's goal, it's a decent finish. Don't think he meant it, to be fair. I think it was a sort of like a cross, wasn't it? But the pen, of course, it was a pen, wasn't it?
I thought it was a cross at first, to be fair, Shaw's goal. But watching it again, I don't know. I think he's meant it. He had his head up just before he hit it, but.
Do you think it was
why you think he's hooked for the cross goal?
Do you think it was a pen for Man United as well?
The arm's gone towards the ball when I don't. It was more a reaction, but it's definitely a penalty for me. But yeah.
Yeah. So do you think 2-1 was a fair result in the end? Because I was thinking to myself, I was saying really that I thought a draw would have been a more fair result, but you know, if you don't take your chances, it's a ruthless league, isn't it? You know, you've got to take your chances to make a count. And Man United, of course, they took theirs less than ever. So pretty much.
Don't forget Lukaku also had a good chance. I think it was either Sanchez or Martin who played it through to him, and it was 1-1 with Schmeichel.
Yeah.
And Schmeichel made a good save. I think that was at 1-0.
Yeah.
So that, you know, if that goes to 2-0, with
different games,
30 minutes left to go, it's, you know, United have got more chance of getting another one than I think. Then Leicester had a chance to score.
Yeah, no, you're spot on.
I thought Paul Pogba was brilliant, to be fair to him.
Yeah.
Not a massive fan of him, never really saw it with him. Even at the World Cup, I didn't think he had a great World Cup as much as people were making out. But I thought on Friday night he was brilliant for them.
Yeah, he's got that quality, hasn't he? Because he's not exactly he was brought in to be that player, you know, that everything goes through. You know, the Kevin De Bruyne type player, isn't he? You know, the player who's going to make them passes in the final third, and he's going to, you know, the whole game's going to flow through him. And he doesn't have enough of them games, does he? But, you know, he definitely clearly showed his quality on the pitch on Friday. I think he was good in a few World Cup games that I remember. I think I remember more notably the one against Australia, for France, which, of course, it's only Australia, but, you know, you have to play well in those games, and he did. And it was a very similar type of performance. A few of his passes behind the back line were really impressive. You know, I'm very much with you on that, where I don't really rate him as much as people, you know, Man United fans do, but I think he definitely showed his quality in this game, didn't he?
I think the thing with when he was playing for France as well, I think he was outshone a lot by Kante.
Yeah.
And I think that says a lot, but I rate Kante as a world-class player, whereas Pogba I don't.
Yeah. Well, it'll be an interesting season for him, especially with all the rumblings coming out after the game, where, you know, he says that he definitely seems unhappy, but I feel like that's a lot to do with Mourinho, really, which you know, we'll get into it slightly. You know, during pre-season he was very critical of his young players. You know, he was just he just seemed very downbeat in everything that was going on, and he just doesn't seem to fill the players with a lot of confidence and a lot of inspiration and motivating. You know, really, I mean, you know, maybe that's because, you know, we've got Klopp, and I feel like he's always trying to G up all the players and the fans and everything, but Mourinho just seems like the complete opposite to that. You know, what do you think?
Mourinho's mood dominates everything around the club. It dominates the feelings of the fans. It dominates the players, as it did at Chelsea. It was can't quite remember his first spell when he got sacked, what he was like, but in his second spell when he was sacked, it was just like totally depressing watching him talk. And he started off as when to go on with the Eva Canero doctor.
Yeah, I get it. I completely. I think this season could be that. It could be that kind of season for Mourinho, especially the way he's come out so early on, and he's already, you know, unhappy with something. I think it could be that kind of season.
We were watching a clip before when he said that after the match he praised Leicester's spending, and that kind of seemed to me like a dig at Ed Woodward, who I honestly don't know what United's transfer market tactics were.
No, they didn't seem to know what they were doing, really, did they? And it says a lot that, you know, a player of, you know, let's talk about Yerry Mina, who's gone to Everton, of course. You know, it's a good signing for you from Barcelona, but it doesn't really matter whether he would have been first choice or not. A player like that should be picking Manchester United over. No disrespect to you, of course, but, you know, it's Manchester United, but he's picked Everton, which for him, obviously, he feels like it's the better move, the player. But that must really, really hurt United in that sense. You know, you look at Alderweireld, they were linked with towards the end as well, Diego Godin, and they didn't get any of them. So for them, it's been a really poor window. You know, they've addressed a couple of positions that they've needed, but the rest, you know, they're looking very bare. And there's not a lot of quality into, you know, after the starting 11. And, you know, like, that's why I'm thinking it could be one of them seasons for United, but they've always got the potential to, you know, come and surprise and stuff like that. So it'll be interesting to see anyway, won't it?
I think it depends with United. I think if they win the next 2 games, and they get off to 9 points out of 9, then it'll be a completely different thing. But you know, start singing and not singing and dancing, but being, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I get it.
Whereas I feel like if they were to say lose the next game and then draw the game after that, that's then when it starts to take it down, and that's when you'll see United starting to sort of self-implode a bit. The players will stop playing for them, to be a big fallout behind the scenes. It's typical Mourinho, isn't it? It happened at Chelsea, it happened at Madrid to an extent.
Yeah.
The players just don't want to play for him.
I thought he was rubbish on Friday for United with Sanchez.
Yeah, he seems to have a lot of bad touches in the game and a
Yeah.
lot of passes astray, didn't he?
I don't know what he is. I don't know whether he's a striker or a left side winger. He's just weird to me.
I think he's
I don't think he's fast enough to play out wide.
Yeah.
He's either number 10 or a striker playing off Lukaku or Rashford, whoever they play.
Yeah.
Obviously, you know, they're strong in the attacking areas where Martial still yet to come back. Lukaku didn't start, or Rashford, and Mata, who I think is probably their best attacking midfielder.
Yeah.
I remember when we were linked with him in 2016 and that summer, and I was on Twitter every day, you know, refreshing, typing Mata Everton
Yeah.
in the search bar.
Not Mata in the Albert though.
Yeah.
Well, to be honest, he supports Liverpool, mate, so he wouldn't even get a chance. Anyway, we'll move on. Anyway, the next game was the early kick-off for Saturday, which was Newcastle United facing off against Spurs, and Spurs managed to win this 1-2-1. This was obviously on the outside looking in, it looks like a tight game, but it was a lot more open than you'd think. You know, did you watch the game, Joe? Did you?
I did. I thought Newcastle played well, but Tottenham's class in the end, I think, just overpowered Newcastle. It was a decent start to the game, to be honest. I think Vertonghen scored a goal which only crossed the line by 9mm, something like that.
Crazy, isn't it?
And then Gordon Ramsay crossed the ball into who was it? Who scored?
It was Hosselu.
Hosselu.
Yeah, which was a good finish.
Yeah, a good header. I can't believe how much he looked like him when he came off the Matt Ritchie. And then Dele Alli scored the winner, didn't he? A goal which reminded me of the one against Sweden he scored in the World Cup, pulling off at the back post.
I think the cross from him is it RDA?
Yeah.
The cross there was a brilliant cross that goal.
But he's capable of that, Dele Alli, around the back post.
Yeah.
You know, them late runs into the box. You know, he scored a lot of them in his first year, didn't he, Jay? And then he seems to be. I've just threw my pen. He seems to be carrying that through now to this season, because I think last season, by all accounts, he was quite poor, wasn't he, for Tottenham?
I think he was poor, but I still think he showed his quality in spells. It wasn't a terrible season. I think he still got an alright goal return, and that he didn't seem that bad. But I just think people forget how young he is as well. I think because of that first season, when he was unreal. Him and Kane, the two of them were just brilliant. And I think people just seem to expect him to kick on.
Him and Barkley, weren't it?
Yeah.
Throughout that season, who's better, and
he showed them
one's
up, didn't he?
gone
Yeah,
somewhere.
he did, really.
That's it, and I think because of that, people seem to forget how young he is. But
21, isn't he? Yeah.
yeah, he's only 20, 21 now at that age. I mean, he made his debut at MK Dons, didn't he, when he was like 16, was it?
Yeah.
So, and then
played
his
in that.
career from there just when...
Played against United when they when they beat them 4-0.
Yeah.
So I think people just tend to put his age to one side and just expect him to play every season the way he did, whereas that season for any other kid his age, people will say, oh, he's had a good season there, but because the season he had before that, people just expect him to carry on, which doesn't always happen. But I think he could easily go on. It's another 15 this season now.
Well, just go back to United very briefly. Look at Rashford. You know, he had a fantastic start to his career at United. You know, he scored all the goals, weren't he, really? And then the next season, I think he improved a bit more, didn't he? And then, you know, since then he's kind of tailed off. You know, not to disrespect him, because of course he's still very, very young in terms of, I think he's 19, nearly 20 now. But you know, at that age, Dele Alli was putting in, you know, top class performances in the Premier League every single week in a midfield position. You know, and it just shows you the difference between someone like him and, you know, how he's perceived in the media. You know, Dele Alli now he's often used as the scapegoat, isn't he? But you know, that's just a sort of a 50-50 split, really, isn't it? But you know, what do you think of Spurs this season? You know, they haven't signed anybody, have they? But they haven't even let anybody go either. There's no business in or out, but still look strong, don't they?
They do. I think that could be a positive and negative that they haven't signed anyone.
Yeah.
Keeping Alderweireld at the back, I think, is good. United even try and sign him.
I think if they wanted him, they'd have got him.
Yeah.
I think.
He's in the last year of his contract now, isn't he? I think not weak, but after the starting from 4, or they only have Lamela, don't they?
Yeah.
I think that might be where they might struggle around Christmas time, and I'm not sure. I don't think they'll get into the top four. I think there's.
So you think it's a squad issue, do you? Do you think that's what it is?
Yeah, I think the first 13 or so is good enough. It's just Harry Kane normally gets injured around February. Yeah. He's always with that ankle. I think the last 2 seasons he's been injured with that ankle, and he's missed I think of about 7 games last season near the end, and that's probably what can help him get the golden boot in the end.
Yeah.
But I think Chelsea might just get into that top 4 before they do.
Do you think a lot of it's inexperience, Jay? Because if you look at after Spurs, is like Joe just said, then like after the 13, you've got players like what is it, Harry Winks, that the one who came on again to make his debut at the weekend, Luke Amos, isn't it? Beyond that 13, there's not a lot of experience there, and you're looking at big Champions League ties this season for Spurs, big title clashes for Spurs, hopefully anyway. And you look on your bench, and there's not a great deal of players who can come in and make a difference, and they know how to make a difference. Do you know what I mean?
I think Harry Winks, though, just touching on him, I think any other squad, I think he'd possibly below the top 6. I think he'd get into most midfield. Yeah. He looked, when he first came onto the scene, especially at the beginning of last season when he got a little run.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
He looked brilliant, and
I
think he got an England call up, didn't he?
Yeah.
Because of it, he looked good. Then the thing I found odd with Tottenham was when the stories were coming out about them wanting to let like Danny Rose, and he still might go this window, but like Dembele as well.
Yeah.
What they haven't got the squad to be able to let the likes of them players go, especially as you just said, the squad isn't the biggest of squads anyway in terms of that quality of depth, and it just seemed odd that they were prepared to let players like that go and without really replacing them.
And the only player I seen them link with all summer really was Jack Grealish, and he's not up to the standard.
He wouldn't. Put it this way, if you were to lose, say, Son, if Son went out and you were putting Jack out, I don't think he'd have been able to, he wouldn't have been a brilliant replacement, I don't think. He'd have done a job, but I don't think he'd have been
ideal.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too.
Well, pretty much like their core of players, 8 players or so have all signed new contracts for around 5 years. So they could see it as like they've been together for about 3 years now, and they're going into hopefully a new stadium sometime this year.
Sometime.
Who knows? They could just think that if we add a player or 2 players, say next summer or this coming January, they could just help them get into that top 4 or even challenge for the league again.
Yeah, put the pressure on.
Yeah.
But I think one thing that's evident with Spurs is it's actually been this way for a few years now. They only seem to sign a couple of players in the window. They don't seem to overhaul the squad as such, and I understand why, because they've got a good squad in prospect. But it's just you feel like each year is the year for Spurs to push on. But now you've got you've got teams like City, Liverpool, United, and potentially now Chelsea, who are all in prospect are going to be ahead of Spurs. They could push themselves ahead of Spurs, and Spurs could be looking at now a year out of the Champions League if they finish outside the top 4, obviously. And do you think that this Spurs side could come back now? Can they overcome that and push themselves back into the top 4? Because I'm not so sure now. They've without strengthening in the right areas. Whether that's just getting a player in for squad depth reasons. Maybe that could be what sees them not break back into that top 4. So it'd be interesting to see what kind of season they have. Comparatively with like a Man United. Because I feel like it'll be one of them two that maybe drops out of the top 4 this season. That's my personal opinion anyway. But we'll move on anyway again.
Just going back to that Newcastle game. Newcastle has some very good chances in the second half.
Yeah.
I think it was new signing for Newcastle, Rondon. He had a shot and it got blocked, hit the bar, and they also had one where I can't remember who played it through, but I think it was Kennedy. He was one on when
that was a great chance. Yeah.
And he didn't take the shot. And I think that was it.
His touch let him down that situation, because when I seen that, I was thinking it's a sure goal.
And to be fair, Lloris flew out of his
it's a good save
straight away.
Yeah, I don't rate Lloris that much. I know you do.
I think he's I still think he's the second best goalie in the league behind De Gea.
Yeah.
I think De Gea's head and shoulders above everyone.
Yeah.
But I think in terms of quality over the past few seasons, I think he can get caught out, but I think that comes as part of the role as a sweeper keeper. I think it's the same as Manny Neuer.
Yeah.
I think Manny Neuer is one of the best goalies in the world, but he's prone to a mistake because that just comes with the nature of the role.
Yeah, it comes with the nature of play. I'm sure De Gea would be in that similar position if Man United played the more expansive.
But I think I rate
the only thing with Lloris, I think he's got weak wrists.
Yeah.
But that's why he normally lets goals in. Where
when it hits his hand, it comes straight in, doesn't it? Yeah. I know what you mean. But no, I was saying, I don't really rate him that much. But in this game, he did play quite well, and he did let Spurs off with a few. That Rondon shot, like you said, it bounced off Vertonghen, didn't it? Because I was thinking that again was another effort. But I'm not sure if I did tell you on the weekend to have a look at that Shelby pass. Not sure, but the pass that Shelby plays for that Rondon effort is an amazing pass, and it's one of the reasons why I can understand people say he should be in the England squad, because he's probably one of England's best passers of the ball. Now I don't always believe that, because he's very hot and cold, Jonjo Shelby, but that pass that he makes for Rondon is superb. The gap hasn't even opened up when he plays the pass. He plays it just as Jose Perez is running out to make the space, but he already knows what's going to happen, and he plays that ball, and it's a great ball. But unluckily for them, they didn't really get anything from it.
I think as well with Shelby, I think you did mention that to me. I haven't seen the pass, but there was one early on as well. I think it was about 20 minutes in.
Yeah.
Where he played a similar ball to the one he played against Hughes that time, where he just split your defence.
Yeah.
And he played it to.
You want to say
The ball for Jonjo Shelby.
Ah, yeah. I think
I'll edit it out. Just cut on whenever you're ready.
he played the ball early on. That was similar. I think it was about just before 20 minutes in, and it was for Hosselu. Played it through. I don't think he managed to control it, but it was similar to the one he played against Liverpool. But I think the big thing about Newcastle is I don't think they're blessed with a great squad, but Rafa Benitez has done some job there. It's unreal. The job he's done there is ridiculous, because he's not getting any signings in that he wants. I mean, Rondon could be good business, but let's face it, if he went into that window, he's not looked there and thought, Solomon Rondon, my mate's out. He's not. But he's dealt with the hand he's got. He's loaned Dwight Gale out, which is good business for West Brom in the Championship. But when he came on, to be fair, Rondon, he looked good, and I think he probably will look better under Benitez, because he's like that. He gets the best out of players, but he has done some job there.
Yeah, I think, if I was Rafa Benitez, I'd be asking for discounts at House of Fraser, if I'm honest, fucking hell. But I think, I agree completely wholeheartedly with you. He just hasn't been backed, has he? Like you said, you're not going to look at it in the transfer window, and Rondon's obviously not going to be the first choice that Newcastle looked for, but it's what they've been dealt with now. So, but I think I've seen enough from Newcastle in this game alone just to say, I think Rafa will do a similar job again this year. I think Newcastle will probably stay up. I think they've got a lot more quality than other teams, and as long as you can keep Jonjo Shelby on the pitch, make sure he doesn't get sent off and stuff like that, then any team's got a chance, really, haven't they?
They would do well to keep Lascelles.
Yeah.
For next summer, next season.
Why? Who do you think's going to come in?
For me, I think he's a perfect fit for Everton.
Yeah. Okay.
I think it would be like Van Dijk to what he is to use.
He's good player.
Yeah, but we've just brought in a few signs, but I'm sure we'll talk about them.
Yeah, no. I think Lascelles is a great player, to be fair, in prospect. He's the captain at what, 20? He always had that potential when he played for Nottingham Forest. He was always tipped as one of the players who's going to be a Premier League type player, and he has now. He got his move to Newcastle, and he hasn't really looked back. To be fair, he looks very solid, very calm and assured, and I'm sure he'd be a great signer for Everton if they made that sign next year. Speaking of Everton, we will move on to the game. Probably one of the games of the weekend. At the Molineux against Wolves, 2-2. The game finished. What were your thoughts on that game? Because obviously, I haven't mentioned it yet in the podcast, but these two are a pair of miserable blues. So what were your opinions on the Wolves game, Joe? Jay?
Go.
I'm not one to jump the gun, but I think Richarlison is the best player in the league.
No, do you know what, to be fair, he was very good in this game, actually. That second goal, I really enjoyed watching that second goal. It's a great finish by him. But
I think, to be honest, up until that moment, which we'll come on to.
We were fully in control.
We were unreal. I don't think Wolves looked poor, to be honest. Wolves looked real. It was similar to when we played Huddersfield back in the last season. They just offered nothing. It was comfortable, and we really didn't have to get out of the second game. We just looked comfortable.
Yeah, obviously when you're watching the game live, you've got a different outlook on the game. You're always feeling the worst, because your heart's going and your knees are shaking about watching it. I said to me dad who was watching it, we're fine here, but something's going to happen, which is just going to
derail it,
cause absolute mayhem to our fan base. And
I wonder what that was.
Phil Jagielka could right up being like a trampoline.
Yeah. It's just so frustrating as well, because that's probably, I think, could cost him his.
Yeah, I don't even get it. He's probably now.
He's fifth
choice. I think Holgate's before him.
The only thing what may say him is that he's the captain, but.
Do you think that's a blessing in disguise though? Because I feel maybe Yerry Mina will come in with a fresh perspective. Kurt Zouma will come in, of course, the same new signings. You know, maybe they might have a lot more to offer than Phil Jagielka. I'm not too sure. You know, because I don't watch everything every week, and I know, of course, you like him, Jay, and I can see why. You know, look, he's the captain of the club. No matter how old he is, he's always going to have a great understanding of the game. But you know,
I think the back end of last season, when he came back, we just looked a lot more comfortable in defence. I think Keane looked a bit more assured when he came back as well. We just looked better in general with him there. Whether that's because, and I don't think he's the best captain, if I'm being honest, whether that's because his experience is next to Keane and Keane just felt a bit more comfortable. But I think this season, I think you can see already, I know it's only one game, but I think you can see from pre-season and that first game his legs have gone. I mean, I think he still reads the game alright. I just think his legs aren't there now, and
I probably won't say his legs have gone, because I've said that for the last 3 seasons, and every time he's came back, he's always been our best performer. Best performer, you know, when he has came back. But I just can't see a way with Marco Silva playing him again.
Yeah, that'd be surprising if he gets back in. I think club games maybe might
especially especially our own, because I hope that we're going to be playing in the opposition's half, high line and all that way. To be fair, Jagielka is quite quick, but it's the moments when on Saturday which has just got to totally knock everyone's confidence if he's playing.
To play football, you can't have a touch like that.
That's what it's not a criticism of his ability. It just age catches up with everyone. It happens with the best players,
except James Milner.
We've saw players had us get to a stage now where they make mistakes after mistake after mistake, and fans would just start getting on the back. Tim Howard. Yeah, it's a classic. Phil Van Distan. Phil Neville to an extent. To be fair, he played a season, maybe 2 seasons, 2 more than he should have, but he probably had to play because we couldn't buy anyone.
Well, there's always a younger and hungrier player coming through, isn't it, in fans' eyes? Because as soon as a player gets to 30 odd, you know, you've got to then stop looking at who's his long-term replacement, don't we? Who's his long-term replacement? And I think that's the thing with Phil Jagielka now. You know, like I said, you've brought in Mina, you've got Holgate, who I think's a good player. I do, but you know, you have to then be looking at who you're going to replace Jagielka with when the time comes.
I think that's something now with the addition of Brands more so than anyone else. I think that's something we'll improve as a club. Though I think we will start looking at replacing, but rather than leaving it to the last minute like we have done in previous. I think we'll look and go right. He's going to need replacing.
I expect Brands to be scouting our next right back over Coleman, because Coleman is I think about 28, 29, something like that. In that age range, so
you've got to have them players in reserve, haven't you? You know,
that's what a top club does to progress easily.
Well, I mean, the only way I can look at it, obviously because I'm a Liverpool fan, I look at Klopp when he was at Dortmund, and you know they were losing players every season to Bayern Munich, because Bayern Munich were obviously miles ahead, except for the 2 years Dortmund won the league. But you know, Dortmund always seemed to have you know, a player behind the player that's in the starting 11. You know, they always seem to have the replacement ready and waiting. You look at Goethe and you look at Royce. You know, they were brought in as replacements to the players that were ahead of them. And then as soon as these players were sold, or they went or whatever, you know, then Goethe and Royce, you know, they were in the starting.
Even Lewandowski.
Yeah, Lewandowski.
They had
Shiva.
Barrios as well.
Yeah, they had Shiva and Barrios.
and then he came in and he went through a
You've got to have
brilliant.
you've got to have that conveyor belt, haven't you? You've got to have that sort of natural progression of players coming through. But you know, let's look at Wolves now. You know, because like you said, you thought they were very poor. I didn't see the game. I was busy, but obviously I only seen their goals. Which you look at it and it's Ruben Neves, isn't it? You know, his quality shined in this game. His free kick was outstanding, to be fair. Although I understand, because it was very close, so people would say, you know, it's easy to score from that close out, but free kicks from right outside the box are hard to score. But he's put it in the top corner. One thing I did note though, I think it was Alan Shearer was criticising Jordan Pickford for the goal, which made me laugh. It just made me think of the World Cup, because Pickford was getting blamed for that goal that Januzaj scored. I don't think you can put any blame on Pickford. I just think it's a great free kick.
I agreed on that one. I thought Pickford would have done better. I thought he should do better. I think he needs to trust his wall more.
There's only so much you can do.
You can understand why he's not trusting his wall.
He was after the goal was scored, the camera went on to Pickford, and you could just tell on his face that he is at fault for it.
I think there's only so much you can do with fucking T-Rex.
I think don't get me wrong. I know full well why he doesn't trust the wall, but if the wall don't do their job, that's their problem.
Yeah.
So you concentrate on having yourself covered, and then if anything happens that's out of your control, nothing you can do about that. But just do your job. And I mean, we used to see it all the time. I'm not saying Jordan Pickford's anything like Tim Howard, because he's not. He's not for 1 minute. But remember, he used to always do it. Tim Howard did. He'd always adjust his position just before something was tough, and then he couldn't get across.
There was a goal Gerrard scored in the derby, the free kick. When obviously Jagielka scored, how weird.
Oh right.
The Gerrard free kick, but Tim Howard's jumping on his line. The ball's already on the ball, and Tim Howard's still mid-air.
Planted, and
then he ends up down behind into the goal. He actually makes contact with his hands behind the line. And
it's hard. It's very hard being a goalkeeper. But when they're worth criticising you, when there's a reason to criticise, I do get it. But I just think, especially the World Cup, when they were blaming Pickford for the goal,
I don't think you can take too much away from Pickford in that game.
No, exactly. No,
he hasn't had the pre-season. We were surprised. We went to the Valencia game. I thought at least he'd get a half anyway, and he didn't even get a minute in that game. So to go into the first game of the season without, I don't know, the World Cup was only less than a month ago, but you still you need that little bit of, especially after the break.
And overall, I thought Pickford was quite poor. To be honest, he made a good save from Jimenez.
Yeah, where he was through.
Yeah, when he stood big, but his kicking just kind of seemed a bit off, which is not normally like him. But I have no worries about.
Yeah, he's not.
I've got bigger worries than our goalkeeper.
Yeah, that's fine. Not Pickford, sorry. Jimenez obviously scored the other goal for Wolves to make it 2-2, didn't he?
Yeah, it's the only goal he'll score all season. it's a case of the Ricky Van Wolfswinkel. This one you can see it coming a mile off.
Yeah.
Because I don't think he's great. He didn't look good anyway in the game, I didn't think.
Yeah. But I think it's telling though that all the signings that they've made, the good signings that Wolves have made, like I did say before, you just think it's Ruben Neves all the way, isn't it? You know, he's the player that they're looking to. Do you know what I mean? Every time. I think he's going to have a great season, to be honest, Neves. But you know, what do you think about Wolves this season anyway? Jay or Joe?
I think they'll stay up, but I think a lot of that's to do with Ruben. I think without Ruben Neves, they're a side who'd struggle.
Yeah.
Because I'd maintain, for all the business they've done, I don't think it's excellent business. I mean,
Adam Traore, as I struggle to see his kind of quality. I know he's fast and he's strong, but come on.
I mean, you see clips, and it says a lot about the player. Everyone puts clips, whether it's on any sort of social media, and it's always him, and he'll beat the man, run round the man, and then it cuts off before he's even done it. Because you know he's got there and his foot just like banana the ball away somewhere.
I think Wolves are in for a shock, really. I think on Saturday it was kind of a reality check for them. I think the manager, I'm not blaming the manager, but their tactics were just weird to me. They started off with 3 at the back, and then I think it was more when we went 2-1 ahead, they were just fucking shite.
Okay, how did you think Everton played anyway? Jay?
Alright, up until the red card. and then even then after the red card, they were all right. I just think, don't know. I think they'd have won the game comfortably if they hadn't have had the man sent off. But I think the man sent off changed the game, didn't it? Even though it wasn't the right decision.
Yeah. I noticed a little bit like, obviously, you know, your new signing Richarlison gets off to a good start. 2 goals. The second one's a great finish, to be fair. The way he uses the defender as like a sort of screen to take around the back of the net. The far corner. Yeah, it's a great finish. Pass through Patricio, who had no chance. What did you make of his debut, Joe?
I'd probably say it was one of the best debuts in like what we've had since Machini's arrived.
Yeah.
I think he has everything on that game. He had pace, power. I think he can play across the whole front line.
Yeah.
Even as a lone striker, when you know, maybe when we go away to places like City or your place, I think he got that booking early on, and I thought that he was gonna maybe lose his head, but I was impressed with the way he kind of conducted himself throughout the entire game. He got injured late on, but I don't think it's too serious. I think he was training today, so hopefully he's back on Saturday.
Yeah, he seems like he's been a great sign, to be fair, so far, but it's one game obviously. But no, he does seem like he's got a good relationship with the manager. Maybe Marco Silva can sort of deploy his tactics through someone like Richarlison, because he obviously has played with him for a year at Watford. Well, you know, best part.
It's similar to Benitez with Torres.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
He got the best out of him.
It just seems like he's got Richarlison, and obviously that seems like a player he can put his tactics into, and you know, he can spare on the rest of the team, which obviously he did.
But the performance overall, I'm bothered about the result. But if we got beat, I would have took more from the performance than the actual result. That performance from Saturday compared to the last game of the season against West Ham last season was like night and day.
Thought Mason Holgate was good when he came on as well. Thought he had a good game.
Yeah.
The one thing I will say is I think a lot of people are saying Michael Keane had a good game, which it wasn't his worst, but I think you can still look at him and think he can do better for the second goal. I think his positional play is terrible. I saw it. What game was it last season? I can't even remember who it was against last season. Burnley, it was. His positional play that game was terrible.
That instance, you know, the same thing. I don't think it was his fault when Jimenez got around him, but it was. I think that was more Holgate's responsibility.
I think he's caught between two players, isn't he? Although, where to go.
For the equaliser on the second equaliser for Wolves, Holgate lets his man go off him as well, and Michael Keane's caught in between the cross and his man, and
I feel like it's probably one of his better games in Evertonshire, but really I still think he's played a part in us conceding a goal.
Yeah. And
I don't think if you're going to have a centre back, I don't think you want to be looking going, well, it was a good game, but he was still potentially at fault for conceding a goal. And I think Silva knows that. I think Brandon knows it. And I think that's why they chase so many centre backs in the window.
We've had that with Lovren for the past, you know, however many years he's played for us now, about 4 years. Even under Klopp, you know, we've improved. We've improved drastically, but he's always a liability, and you'd always look at him as our weakest player in the outfield positions, because you think no matter how well we play, he's going to drop a bollock, do you know what I mean? And he does most of the time. But you know, I think Keane's a good centre half, to be honest. I think a lot of Burnley centre halves, the centre halves that come out of Burnley, I mean, maybe it's Burnley's system making them look good. Of course, I think
Sean Dyche's just capable of doing that, isn't he? He gets the best out of any centre half. I mean, you could probably send anyone.
Clark Carlisle used to play for Burnley, didn't he? You know what I mean? He'd look brilliant in there. But yeah, we may as well go on to Burnley then, because, you know, talking about it, we'll go on to the Southampton Burnley game. 0-0 finished.
Probably
Burnley,
one of the least surprising 0-0s of the season.
Well, you say that, to be fair, but Burnley had a chance. They had an effort. Jack Cork actually put the ball in the back of the net, and it was ruled offside, but it actually was onside, and I'm talking millimetres, which was a bit unlucky for them. But I think overall balance of play, they both probably deserve to get something out of the game. So maybe a 0-0, a draw is quite right, to be fair. But Southampton had an effort cleared off the line. Ben Mee, his header went back onto the nearly at the crossbar, but the defender gets it out. So yeah, pretty much a dead rubber 0-0 that, to be fair. Both, what do you think about both sides? I mean, let's talk Southampton first. they were in trouble last year. Mark Hughes was coming now, saved them from relegation. But what do you? I feel like you're not going to have as much of a positive opinion about it.
I don't think he saved them. I think anyone could have went into that job and saved that team.
Yeah.
I think that was just a case of a new manager bounce. I think you could have put literally anybody in charge of that team. You could have put John Carver in charge of that team.
Yeah.
He'd have got a bounce because they had probably too much quality to go down anyway. And it was just a case of they just got tired of his ideas.
I don't think they had a bounce when he came in though. They won that game against Swansea, which pretty much kept them up. The seventh, I think it was their second to last game, or the game what pretty much kept them up, and they got beat against City on the weekend, where I personally can see Southampton struggling again. I don't think they've got a lot of goals in.
I don't think the side improved.
No,
from what it was last year.
Have they made any signings?
They've made Danny Ings, I think, a couple of others. I'm not too sure of the others, but I know Danny Ings is one of the players.
They've brought in a few centre-halves, haven't they? Vestergaard, isn't it?
Yeah, he had a decent game, to be fair. But, players like that, I mean, Danny Ings, he's got the quality to make a difference down there, but, his injury problems, he's practically had nearly 3 years out injured, and he hasn't really played a lot of football for Liverpool, so he's going to be one of them that you have to get him up to speed, and it's going to probably take a while. But if his leg goes, they're fucked for the rest of the season, aren't they? You can't really pin your hopes on a player like that. But having said that, his quality is clear down that end of the table because he can score goals when he's given the chance.
Since Ronald Koeman's left, they've got progressively worse.
Yeah, I always thought Southampton were the kind of club that they always seem to improve no matter when a manager leaves or players leave. But now I feel like they're finally hitting that wall that you were expecting them to hit. When they lose all them players, they lose their managers. They
haven't got a player who will come in like a Liverpool or whoever wouldn't come in for anyone.
No,
it's only probably Redmond really, and he's 30 soon or 30 now. Yeah, and I think they're struggling again.
Yeah, I think they could be one of the potential teams to struggle. On the flip side of that, Burnley, in Europe this season. I think
not officially.
They're in the qualifiers. If they're to beat the team that they're playing, which is a team from Turkey, then they have potentially got Olympiacos in the next round of the Europa League. Now that could be a really big tie for them, and could potentially see them out of the Europa League. Which I feel like if they were to lose out of the Europa League, they'd probably do quite well. I was thinking, to be fair,
I meant Bertrand.
Yeah. Just to clarify, he meant Ryan Bertrand's nearly 30, but Redmond's like 25, 26. 24, fair enough. He seems to have been around for a while, Redmond, doesn't he? Do you know what I mean? Because I think he made his debut for Birmingham when he was 16 or something. And thanks, nice one. Correcting everyone. So just back onto Burnley. If they lose out in Europe, early on before the group stage, I feel like they'll probably push on and finish in the top half comfortably. But I think the Europa League hangover, you saw it in 14, 15.
I think they'll finish top half regardless.
Do you think?
I think he's that good of a manager, Sean. Like, he manages his games so well. He did it. Yeah. He's done it every season he got back in the Prem.
It'd be good to see, to be fair. Yeah.
I think the first season he got back in the Prem when he got relegated was a bit of a learning curve.
Yeah.
Plus, I don't think they really had the quality that much. But I think now, since they've got back in, his game-to-game management's unreal. Well,
they've got one of the smallest budgets in the league, so you could understand why that would be the case, wouldn't you? I just look at teams who've played in the Europa League and the effect it has on the league games, especially for a team like Burnley. The only player they've got who's played any sort of the only players that they've got who's played any sort of European football is obviously Joe Hart, who's a new acquisition, and Lennon that I can think of. Anyone else really, I don't really know, but I feel like they might struggle, but like you just said then, Sean Dyche, he was probably one of the better managers last season, but because he doesn't play because he doesn't manage a trendy team, no one seems to care much. But yeah, he was a fantastic manager last season. But I don't think they'll be anywhere near the relegation zone, Burnley, not at all. They're too good for that. We'll move to the next game on the list, which is Bournemouth 2, Cardiff 0. No surprises there, really, was there?
Not really, no.
I think one of the worst, aren't they, in the Prem? Yeah. They'll go down comfortably, Cardiff. I think everyone can probably agree on that one. I think that's...
Neil Warnock has said that they will struggle for goals. Yeah. He feels, and it's shown on the weekend that I think they had one chance from a corner, like a second phase of a corner where it got cleared off the line in a scramble. But I thought Bournemouth played quite well. They missed a penalty, which was a debatable
Very
penalty,
dubious, wasn't it?
which would have made it 2-0 if they scored. But obviously Bournemouth scored another injury time goal, 91st minute I think it was, and I think they scored the most injury time goal last season, one against Everton of course. But I can see Bournemouth probably just staying where they are, where they finished from the last few seasons, between 9th, 12th, in that range.
I
So,
think they've got
unworried.
defensive frailties that they won't fix, haven't they? But I think it's similar. Don't get me wrong, I think he gets away with it more because it's not a top club, but it's similar to Martinez at Everton, where you can see clearly what the problem is. It's just that they leak goals constantly, and they've tried to fix in the past with like Nathan Aki come in and he sort of showed them up a little bit.
But one player can't really make all that difference.
Exactly, and then he's tried to he brought in Begovic, who again he's not really gonna.
I always feel once a keeper goes somewhere else, like he went to Chelsea and sat on the bench for two or so years, and to go straight back into the number one spot is added 2 years onto his age. And I think they should upgrade the keeper as well now. They upgraded who played for Celtic, their keeper?
Not Forster, it's
Boric,
Boric.
You could tell that he was poor. He brought in Begovic, who sat on Chelsea's bench for 2 years. I think he's a liability.
I mean,
I think.
Go on, yeah.
No, go on.
I was just going to say, maybe. I mean, I don't know why Bournemouth didn't maybe go for somebody like a Jack Butland. You know what I mean? Because he's a risk, of course he is, but you know he's better than the Championship in my opinion, Jack Butland, and you know he probably suits a Bournemouth style of play, really, wouldn't he? But I
think it's an odd one as well because the Begovic transfer to Chelsea surprised me, to be honest, because I thought at one point, quite a while ago now, but I thought at one point Begovic and Mignolet, when they were at Stoke and Sunderland, were two of the best keepers, or looked two of the best keepers in the world, whether it was just because of the team they were playing for and the amount of shots against them. But he sort of, he went to Chelsea, did nothing, and then
he sort of plateaued, didn't he? When he was at Chelsea, he kind of his level didn't improve, did it? But you know, and now he's at Bournemouth, he's kind of being made out to be what he really is, which is as a mid-table kind of keeper, isn't it? It's just interesting what you were saying there, Joe, because I actually said that in my predictions for the first round of fixtures. I said that Bournemouth last season scored a lot of late goals, and it's one of the reasons why I thought they were going to do quite well, because it's a good habit to have, scoring late goals, and they did. Like you said, they scored another late goal today on Saturday.
Plus, even though they do concede a lot of goals, they always stay in the game, and they're pain in the arse to play against. I hate playing against Bournemouth.
The Barkley game.
It's the distance as well for some clubs. Like what is it, 3-4 hours for us or something?
7 hours, I think. Right at the bottom of the country.
So it's a tough place to go, Bournemouth, and even though it's a small stadium, you don't get a lot of joy there. We had it a few years ago, the 4-3 game. I'm not going to talk anymore about that. We'll move on anyway. So Fulham Palace, which I thought was going to be quite a good game in prospect. Two London sides were it's a kind of derby, but it's not really. Fulham, obviously the first year back in the Premier League for 4 years, against Palace, who've been rejuvenated under Roy Hodgson. This game ended 2-0 to Palace. Now, in my predictions video that didn't actually go out onto YouTube, I said I actually tipped Palace to go down quite stupidly. Jay made me see sense, and obviously, what a stupid thing to say, because I sort of looked at it more of, Benteke has been very underwhelming since he signed for Palace. Wilf Zaha, maybe his head's been turned, and maybe he won't put the same performances in. But this game just showed completely the opposite of that. Especially with Zaha, he was outstanding in this game and scores the goal, the decisive goal. But it wasn't all plain sailing, because in the first half, Fulham had a lot of chances and actually should have had a penalty, shouldn't he, Joe?
It's the second half.
Was it the second half? I'll correct myself.
But,
in the second half.
No. Fulham started well. Hennessy made a few really good saves.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
Who I think he's a bit for me.
He's a bit what?
He's a bit dodgy at times.
He is.
I think he makes a lot of mistakes. But Fulham started well, but Palace came back into the game, scoring through Jeff Slupp from a fan.
It was,
It's a near post strike, high into the net, and it
Can you
seemed
blame
like
the keeper? Can you blame the keeper, really? Or
No.
no,
I think you
not
blame
for
the,
that
I
one.
think you blame the centre backs
Yeah.
letting them get in front of them and get the
Um,
shot away. That's just poor defending. But
And then just shortly after that, Palace had a goal where it was out for offside. It was correctly offside, like, but from Van Alven, I think his
Van
name.
Alven.
It was a really good finish as well.
Yeah.
It was about 6 yards out
For the left
on
back
the
kill.
corner of like the 6-yard box and right into the roof of net.
Yeah. But so that penalty appeal for Fulham, while it was 1-0, it was 1-0 Palace at this point.
Yeah.
This penalty probably could have and should have changed the game. Shearer gets taken down by Sacco. It's just it's not malicious. It's just a late challenge.
it's the most blatant pen of the weekend.
Yeah, absolutely, mate.
Should have been a pen.
And you see some of the decisions, like for instance Bournemouth getting a penalty that wasn't, Liverpool getting an offside goal, you know what I mean, things like that, and then Phil Jackson, yeah, you know what I mean, like dubious decisions, and then Fulham don't get something that they were rightly deserved to get, which was
Everton not getting a penalty against Liverpool in 2006 from Jamie Carragher. I've let it go, like.
Yeah, you've let it go, like Calvert-Lewin's.
Yeah, it was a push on Calvert-Lewin.
Yeah, but you know, you look at that and you think shit, like really hard done by for Fulham, because it's that little bit of luck you need, especially coming up from the Championship. You know, they've played well, they haven't finished the chances like they should have. Mitrovic had a few, and that's a little bit of luck you need, and they never got it in this game, did DJ?
No, but to be fair, I think Fulham will. I actually tip Fulham for top half at the beginning of the season, and looking after the weekend, I think they'll struggle a bit now.
Yeah.
Because you look at the likes of Burnley, who came up, Bournemouth as well. They sort of kept like that nucleus of the side that came up from the Championship.
Yeah.
And you need them players who are going to come up and go, right, we need to fight to keep our place. We need to stay in this league.
Yeah.
And they've gone out, they've signed.
Well,
I think he's a good sign. I think he'll be a good sign.
I think as well.
Yeah, I've never even heard of
They've
him.
made around 10 signings, haven't they? And seven of them all started.
Yeah, that's interesting.
On
you see,
Saturday.
Even that, is it Joe Bryan, the left back they signed?
Yeah.
He literally signed Thursday night.
Yeah, that's a strange one for me.
For them when I couldn't get my head down.
Yeah, that's a strange one,
because completely new back forward as well.
The
so
nucleus of that team in the Championship were really good, especially towards the back end. You know, I was watching a few of their games, and then the final as well. You know, they seemed like he had a really good squad, especially Tom. I'm not sure, did Tom Kearney play? I don't know, did he?
Yeah,
Did he play? Yeah.
midfield,
Well, you know, players like that like got them up in the first place, and it seems strange that the manager doesn't rely on them for the first game of the season, and maybe that's come back to haunt them, because you know there wasn't a lot of cohesion in the team, and you know, yeah, it did show, because Palace were obviously the better side. What do you think about Palace then? You know, they haven't. I mean, I'm not sure who they've signed.
Brought in Max Meyer, haven't they?
Yeah,
Brought in a
Koulibaly.
new goalkeeper.
Not
Koulibaly.
Koulibaly. They wish he'd had Koulibaly. Koyate.
Koyate.
West Ham.
Yeah, that's to be fair, that's a good signing, and
yeah.
I mean, I'll
For
talk about.
$9.5 million as well. It's a good
I'll
signing.
talk about that later on, because obviously
none of them
Comes into
started the game. The new signings though. Max Meyer, I don't think he's fit. Koyate was on the bench, and so was another player they signed. I can't quite remember his name, but they stuck with the team what finished last season quite well.
Yeah. And one
Compared to Fulham, where they probably lost that identity what they had last season,
yeah, they did.
which I think our Everton last season we lost from the season before. Sometimes it will take time for Fulham, but
Joe,
I don't
it's
think.
not about you, Joe. Shut up.
No, I think clubs don't realise it. I mean, you saw
Yeah.
QPR, they did it when they came up.
Yeah.
And Harry Redknapp said Chris Samba was the best sign he could have made and all this. You just see teams do it time and time
Yeah.
again. They come up
They make the same
and
mistakes, don't
they
they?
just abandon that team that got them up in the first place and just go, right, let's get a brand new starting 11, let's go, he's alright. And yeah, individually they might all be a good talent, but if they're not going to play together as a team, you're not going to get anywhere, and unless you're going to have that bit of individual brilliance, which I think Wolves have probably got with Neves, which I think will probably keep them up.
Yeah.
I don't think really. I think Fulham are going to rely a lot on what Sessegnon can do in the Prem as well. I think.
Well, let's look at, if you look at sides that have obviously come up in recent years, I'll go back like about 5-6 maybe. You've got Leicester. The span of their team is still, some of it is still what kept them up in the what brought them out the Championship. You've got Kasper Schmeichel, you've got Wes Morgan still in there, and obviously Vardy as well. They're three players who
even to last season, I think Simpson right back.
Do you know what I mean? They had, when they won the league, they had Robert Huth, who was he was a new signing. You know what I mean? So they had players who were with them for the ride. You know, you look at Bournemouth now. Bournemouth are comfortable in the Premier League now, and most of their squad's still a Championship squad, isn't it? Really?
Have they still got Charlie Daniels left
Charlie
back?
Daniels left back. Yeah, he scored a great goal last season, didn't he? You know, Stuart Francis. What is it? Cook as well. You know, Wilson. Wilson was amazing in the Championship. To be fair. So you know, you look at that, and that's what you probably should be doing. You shouldn't be going too far away from. You know, look, this isn't Footy Manager. This isn't career mode. It's not a game where you just bring all the best players or all the most expensive players and your team's suddenly better. It's about like the tactics and the management, and obviously these players, especially like at Fulham, they did really well last season. Mitrovic, like that's a good signing, Mitrovic, but then they bring in all these different players that haven't played together, and it's, you know, maybe in the long run it'll work out, but it needs to work out sooner rather than later, because the last thing you want is to start, you know, however many points behind everyone else, you know, because you look at, basically there was only one game this weekend where there was a draw. That was you against Wolves. Everyone else has won. So you look at Watford, because they could be potentially down there. The other team that drawn was Southampton Burnley. You've got Bournemouth won, Palace won, and Watford all won as well. So you know, Fulham are already starting behind everyone else really. So next game we'll move on to is Huddersfield against Chelsea. Chelsea get away with a 3-0 win. I didn't actually watch this game, so whoever did, you know.
I watched it. Chelsea looked quite good, to be fair. To be fair though, I think Huddersfield as well, they had quite a few chances. They did alright. It looked bad on paper, but I think Huddersfield played alright. Yeah. To be fair, they didn't look quite as bad as the scoreline would suggest. But I think you can see what Sarri's trying to do. Yeah. You can see they looked a bit. They looked better than what they did last year. Whether that's because the players didn't want to play for Conte, I don't know. But I think one thing that I did notice, Alvaro Morata, I don't know what happened to him. That is the biggest turn I've ever seen in centre forward. Yeah. In the last season when he first signed and he was scoring, I think it was like stupid 4 headers in the first 7 games, wasn't it? And he just looked really good. Yeah. Yeah, his touch is really poor. You know, he just doesn't look like the footballer that you know Chelsea signed from Madrid. You know, he was scoring bags of goals in the Champions League. You know, he went back to Madrid because they were going to obviously utilise him ahead of Benzema, but then obviously Chelsea signed him, and yet it all seems to have fell downhill from there, doesn't it? It's an interesting one, isn't it, with Morata, because I didn't actually think he'd start. I thought he'd start Giroud over him. Yeah. Now I think that's probably because of how late he got back from the World Cup as well. Yeah. But I thought he might have been shipped out. To be honest, I thought he might have gone there. I think AC Milan, they were linked in where they at one point. Then they got Higuain. So he still might go. Don't get me wrong. He still might be a club coming for him. But it seems like he's lost his confidence massively, doesn't it? They've already let Batshuayi go on loan too. That's a stupid decision, not to be fair. I just don't get that one. I don't really get it. If you're sending a player out on loan, is this his second spell out on loan now? Yeah. If you're sending him out on loan, just sell. Yeah. Because especially the thing that I can't get my head around, it's not like he's going out on loan and he's not impressing. Yeah. He's gone out on loan to Dortmund. Yeah. He scored the Champions League. Yeah, he scored quite a few for them, didn't he? He went on a little run. Something stupid about many goals he got in many games, but he looked really good for them. And then he's come back, and you think, right, well, look at Chelsea. They haven't really had any striker who's scored for fun last season anyway. You'd think he might have gone, right, well, we'll give him a go. See, his confidence must be rocking through the roof at the minute. Let's give him a go, see how he gets on. And it's not, it's just a case of, well, you came back, yeah, well done on loan last season, but tell you what, ta-da. Yeah, he's Belgian as well. You know, he links up well with Hazard. You know, you've seen it in the World Cup. They link up quite well. He's got a good mix of pace, power. You know, the typical the trend diagram of what they say. Pace, power, but you know he can finish. He knows where the goal is at the end of the day. He's a Lukaku light, isn't he? He is. He is. You know what I mean. But he's probably not as powerful as Lukaku, but he can finish as well as somebody like that. You know, Belgium, they make good players, don't they? At the end of the day, and he's one of them. Thoughts on Huddersfield? You know, they're in any danger of going down? Yeah, I think they will. I think they'll go, but I think. See, I think that's mad. I think they play really good football, and I think they're such a good club who can galvanise themselves. And I think as well, they're probably looking, as mostly the fans, looking one eye on the Championship and seeing how well Leeds are probably going to do this year. Probably thinking if we stay in the league this year, we're going to have some cracking derby games next year. But I think they were in danger towards the end of last season. They're going nowhere. I mean, I looked at them last week after they got beat by us.
Yeah.
and they had to pick up. I think they had to pick up points, didn't they?
You
From, I think
drew
it was
against City, Chelsea, and
yeah. Chelsea, Arsenal, and City needed points from. And I thought they were going to be better than they stayed up. But I just feel like I think they'll just be a little bit light this season. I don't think they've made any top signings. I mean, they started Ben Hamer in goal on the weekend.
Yeah, I seen
And
that.
they've signed Lossell, haven't they? And they got him for like 2.2.
Yeah.
I thought he'd start for them.
Yeah.
So I don't know whether he's picked up a knock or whatever. But if he has picked up a knock and he's out for a while, then that itself could be a problem. You don't want to be getting off to the start of the season with. I mean, it's already one heavy defeat, even though the scoreline probably shouldn't have been as big.
Yeah.
But it's one heavy defeat, and you don't want to go next week. They got City next week.
Yeah, I think so.
You got City
Yeah,
on the
City,
weekend,
Manchester
so
City, yeah.
God knows what's good. That could be ridiculous.
Away at City as well.
And then they're going to have De Bruyne and all that for their first game, so that could be another potential cricket score. That
Come
one.
on, Huddersfield, do us a job, lads. Come on.
It could be though, and then you don't know, and then you're talking. They could be going into that third game of the season. I don't know who it's against, but
Winless.
third game of the season, potentially conceding something like 10 goals, scoring none.
Yeah. Well, it's
They're
exactly
not going to
what
concede 7 against City, but
Well, you know, it's pretty much exactly what I was saying about Fulham. You don't want to start the season 2 games gone, 3 games gone, being about 6 points behind the rest.
Yeah.
You know, you need to get as much of an advantage as possible because you haven't got a great advantage in this league, especially because they're newly promoted last year. So, you know, it'll be interesting to see how they get on and if David Wagner can turn that around as well. Next game is obviously another two potential relegation threatened teams. Watford Brighton, 2-0 to Watford. I think the danger man and the only difference in this game was probably Pereira, wasn't it? 2 really good goals. I prefer the second rather than the first. I think the first would look even better if he'd have just put a top corner, no save from the keeper.
Keeper safe.
Yeah,
it,
keeper puts it in, doesn't he? Yeah, he spoiled it.
Yeah.
Ruined it. Why would you even do that, mate?
Just
I know.
can't believe he's done that.
Just who cares why your team trying to win the game, mate? Fucking leave it. But the second goal was really good. You know, he skips past a couple of players, gets round, quite a tight angle, and he just slotted past the keeper.
I don't actually think the second goal was that good. I think it's absolutely shocking defending. If that was my team, and then it was my team last season, if that was my team, I'd be sat there watching that. Especially when you look at Shane Duffy and was it Dunk? They were brilliant for them last season. That was probably part of the reason he stayed up, and I'd be looking at them 2 there thinking, where is there? Because they literally, I think Shane Duffy comes over to try and get a block on at the last minute, and he should be touch tight to him anyway. Yeah,
second season's always the worst for the promoted clubs, isn't it? You know, that's maybe why Huddersfield and Brighton could have a bit of a wobble. You know, even Newcastle. You know, that's the thing. Second season's always tougher because you know you'd always think you've got over that hump, but there's like one more season left to go until you can sort of consider yourselves comfortable. Isn't you know what I mean, Joe? So Brighton looked really poor in this game, didn't they, against Watford?
They did. Brighton next week have got Man United.
Well, there you go. You know,
so that's a potential other likely defeat, I reckon.
Especially to get a penalty given.
But I think I said before that it would either be Brighton or Huddersfield. One of them will go down.
I think it could be both. To be fair.
Be both.
I know it's hard.
Southampton in there.
It's hard to gauge off the opening weekend, but
I
think Brighton just have a bit more quality than Huddersfield do.
Yeah. That to me that makes me really sad because I really like Huddersfield. Maybe it's because David Wagner's the manager and he's got close ties to Klopp. Do you know what I mean? So that's and I seen them last season. The season before they were promoted, and they played really well against City in the cup, and that just sort of made me think they're a good side here, and I'd like them to be in the Premier League and stay in there, but. Brighton seem like you've just said, they've got more quality. Izquierdo was quite instrumental towards the end of the season, so it'll be really tight. Because after the top 6, top 7, maybe top 8 this year, depending. It's a free for all, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? Isn't it? Right down the bottom.
Top 7. But,
top 7. Yeah.
I think
you might finish 8th this year.
I think from the last season's top 6 to
West Ham have made good signs.
They haven't.
I think West Ham are in trouble. Honestly, I think West Ham are in trouble this season. Yeah. Don't think they'll get relegated, but I think
we'll get on to them in a minute.
15th below isn't out of the question with them. They're shite.
I just think the manager is awful. He scraped 4th with Man City.
No, we're not talking about West Ham yet. We're not talking about West Ham.
I'm talking about West Ham.
Typical Everton fans bragging on West Ham.
No, Who were we talking about?
We were talking about Watford Brighton, mate, and then
Okay.
it suddenly became about Everton v
I
West Ham.
don't think Watford are in trouble. I think
No.
Watford will be safe because, don't get me wrong, I couldn't tell you who their manager is now. But
I think
I know what he looks like.
I know he's
Yeah,
the manager.
there's-
He managed at. Nope, can't even.
I think they say. I think Watford will be. I think there's. I know what you mean when you say any club a bad run of form and they could get dragged into it. But I think you've got I think Newcastle, your Watford, your Bournemouth.
You can't get any worse than Cardiff. Do you know what I mean?
I think
That's
they're
a point.
that little group there, Leicester as well, probably going to be safe. Probably have. I know you say, you've never got too much cards to go down, but you have.
I think Leicester were very good in that game against Man United, and you might see in the next few weeks them start to take shape. I think Silva for them was very good, and that's why I think they'll stay clear of it. Newcastle, I just think Rafa did such a good job, and I think he's got unless he leaves before the end of the season or sacked, whatever, you know what I mean. I think he'll do well with them, and then it's just about like your Bournemouth, your Cardiff. Well, to be honest, not even Bournemouth. Your Cardiff, your Fulhams, your Huddersfield, Watford, Brighton, Southampton, and West Ham. You said, but I don't know.
I don't think West Ham will get
not
relegated. I
relegated,
just think they'll. I don't think.
I don't think
they'll
they'll be as good as they
whereas
think
people
they
are
will
going
be.
top 7, top 8, they won't. They are not going to get anywhere near that because you've got. And alright, a lot of people can go, oh yeah, look at the signing they made, but in reality, Fabianski is now probably going to be getting past his best. In my opinion, he is anyway. And then, alright, you can always fall back on Adrian, but you don't want another season where you haven't got a
Settled.
a specific
Settled
number
number
one.
Yeah.
Then you've got a right back who Fredericks unproven in the Prem. Diop, for all the potential in the world, unproven in the Prem. Balbuena, never heard of him. Couldn't tell you anything about him.
His name's Balbuena.
Yeah, that's about it.
And he's not very good.
Yeah,
He's somehow a footballer.
Yeah. So unproven at any professional football level. Who's the left back?
It's not Crespo. Masuaku. He's all right. He's okay.
He can cross a ball.
But he's very sort of hot and cold, and he's very, his head sort of goes quite
and
quickly.
then what? Declan Rice and Mark Noble in the centre of the park. That's not going to get you anywhere near that top.
And
top 8 for me.
As you said, to be bringing on Robert Snodgrass
For
in a
Declan
Premier League game for who was it for?
Declan Rice.
Declan Rice.
That was a substitution
Okay.
at a competitive Premier League football.
I'm totally behind this West Ham hype train.
Well, this is perfect because, this brings me on to my favourite segment, and hopefully this will be my favourite segment of the week for Liverpool's win of the week, innit? You know what I mean? So we'll move on to this game as you're talking about West Ham. We'll finish up on the talk of West Ham, but they were beaten 4-0 by the mighty Reds at Anfield. 4-0, like I said.
Did you go?
I didn't, I'm only around the corner. It's literally just there from me. But like you were talking about Pellegrini scraped fourth with Man City, and obviously this team that turned up to Anfield on Sunday were very disjointed. Nobody seems to know where they were playing. I think there was a point on Match of the Day where they mentioned Ogbonna was about to come out and meet Firmino when he dropped in. Ogbonna did, yeah. Ogbonna played next to Balbuena.
Thank God we
He
missed
goes
out on him.
he goes to come out and meet Firmino when Firmino drops in. Then he decides to change his mind and leaves him. And then Mark Noble's stuck with like 2 or 3 players around him. But I think that there's a mix of that, but also if you looked at how good Liverpool were, I know you're Evertonians and you probably don't want to admit it, but we were really, really good in this game. Naby Keita in particular was just bossing the midfield. I know you can't get too carried away over the first game, but I'm going to. 2 goals for Mane, a goal for Salah, and I forgot who the other one was. Sturridge.
Mighty Reds there.
Yeah, I forgot. Sturridge
No
comes on
idea.
and with about 1 or 2 seconds into the play being restarted, he scores a goal as well. So dominant performance from Liverpool, and obviously we've got a good start of the league Liverpool wise. Palace is next away, although that is quite a tough trip. Hopefully we can come out of that one. But yeah, what did you make of your neighbours anyway?
I think they played well. But I'm not going to sit there and go,
yeah.
oh, you don't play well, because you are a good football side. But I still don't think you've got enough to win the league. I think City are still miles ahead of anyone in this league. That's just a fact.
I do agree.
The fact that they've got 1, the best squad, and 2, the best manager. They haven't got the best squad in the world, but they've got the best squad in England. They've probably got the best manager in the world. Oasis. No, but then I don't even think Liverpool got the second best squad in the league. Personally, I think Chelsea's squad is stronger than Liverpool's, but I think Liverpool's team is better than Chelsea's.
See, I agree with the whole City being miles better thing, because if we've got any chance of winning the league, it's based purely off City dropping points. Because if they don't drop any points to what they dropped last year, they're going to get 100 points plus, aren't they? If they drop points, it's going to be, I've heard lots of people talking about it. Even if they drop 10 points, they've got 90 points. So it's still going to be an astronomical ask, because we only got 70 something points last season. So we're gonna have to hope that Chelsea drop 15, maybe more points, and that Liverpool gain another 15 on top of that. So, a 30-point swing you're asking for, is that really going to happen? I don't think so.
But this is it. I think that's the main thing people seem to be forgetting as well, is that...
I still predicted Liverpool to win the league, by the way. So just to clarify, but carry on.
Going back to you saying Chelsea is stronger than Liverpool, I think Liverpool is stronger actual playing football.
Yeah.
That's what I think. Liverpool are a better team, but I think Chelsea are a better squad.
I think Liverpool will just blow away teams at Anfield pretty much. Probably everyone other than the top 6. Hopefully, everyone other say if we finish 7th, everyone below us. I think you will probably.
I hope so, because that's been our problem.
Yeah.
That's been our massive problem for the past 20 odd years. That's the reason why we've never won the league. Well, we've never won the Premier League as such. But since the Premier League was involved, we've never won it, and that's one of the reasons why them smaller sides that come to Anfield, and they're so difficult to play against, or they just frustrate us in a way where we get impatient and we just don't, for some reason or another, we just don't win the game. And we've always had a good record, so to speak, against the top 6 or top 4, whatever it used to be. But now this season is about us trying to turn all that round, and this is a great start, 4-0 against West Ham, but there's probably going to be harder challenges than West Ham, because they turned up with a team similar to Fulham, very new side. They had Declan Rice, who's a centre half by all accounts, in centre defensive midfield. Mark Noble, who's probably on his last legs, really, isn't he?
Still deserves an England call up, doesn't he?
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like they sort of rocked up with half a team. They rocked up with half a team and half a manager in a way. It'll be interesting to see how they get on. We had an oxygen tank next to us.
West Ham could probably do with someone like Koyate in midfield.
You know what? He'd be a great signing from Crystal Palace. How much is he going for? About 9 million? Yeah.
9 million, I think he went for.
That's a good point, because he did mention that on. I don't know if it was Sky or BT or even.
I couldn't believe they actually sold him, because when you look at their midfield, that's probably the one position they're lacking in quite a bit. I mean, you've got Wilshere, Noble, Rice, and Obiang, is it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, Jack Wilshere's leg at some point will go. Yeah. That for me is just a given. At some point,
or he might upgrade from 20 cigarettes a day to 40.
Whether it's a short-term injury or long-term injury, I don't know. But at some point, they will miss Jack Wilshere at some point this season, because he won't stay fit for the full season. He won't. No. Especially, he just won't. Jack Wilshere, he won't. Declan Rice.
Get that on a t-shirt. He won't.
He won't.
I think you should say that again.
He won't. Pedro Obiang, to be honest, I don't think I've ever watched him play, and if he has played, I've never noticed him, so that says everything you need to know about him.
Will he do well?
Obiang?
Yeah.
No, he won't. Declan Rice, as you just said, centre half, who's going to be playing centre mid.
Yeah. Maybe that was just for the first game of the season because someone was unfit. I'm not too sure.
If that's the case, though, that's my point. They've got nothing in that midfield. An injury away from having Declan Rice and Mark Noble as your centre mid partnership, that for me isn't even good enough for top half, never mind top 8.
On average is good though, isn't he?
Bang average.
I think he's okay.
I think
he's good, but if they're going to look to him to be the driving force and drag them into games, because he was poor in this game, didn't really have a lot to do.
Did he play up front?
He did, mate. Yeah, and he was very isolated.
That's where he scored most of his goals at. I think in pre-season for West Ham.
Yeah.
I don't think he's. I think he needs a lot of quick players around him to be effective. They brought in Felipe Anderson, who.
I know you didn't think it. I thought he was good defensively. He was their best player, which says a lot.
Which is sound if you sound a centre back, but you sound a right winger.
He tracked back well.
It reminds me of when Sam Allardyce played Aaron Lennon for us. He was a defensive right winger for us every time he played.
But to be fair, Anderson didn't do anything against. As good as Trent is, let's strip it down to what it really is. He's a 19-year-old kid in a way, and Anderson didn't look anywhere near as good against someone like him, and that for Anderson, he should be doing way better than that, shouldn't he?
Well, if you paid
For 42 million,
Yeah.
wasn't it?
42 million for a Brazilian player who's older than the Brazilian player we got for cheaper, who's apparently ruined the transfer window.
Yeah.
You know, but we won't talk about that one.
It's mad remarks like that just make you think, why have they even got a job on Sky? One thing we will talk about is another lad that will be joining the podcast probably next week, depending on his work commitments, has got a bet with Jay because he said that he thinks Felipe Anderson will get to 10 goals quicker than Theo Walcott will for Everton this season. So
I'll
discuss.
my bet was that Theo Walcott will score more goals in Everton's first 10 games than Felipe Anderson will all season.
Okay, fair enough.
That for me isn't a bet as it is me just taking money off him.
Yeah, basically you're just daylightly robbing him.
Slightly putting my hand in his pocket and taking whatever's in there. That's all I'm doing.
Allegedly, okay. In case anyone. But no, I just think this game was complete light and day. West Ham are way off the pace at the minute because they're very rusty. The manager's just come in. It's a new transition. And then Liverpool are just absolutely on fire. Them and City have started the season off the way they ended last, which is, for us, it's great. It's not so great that City are doing it. We'll move on to that now. At the Emirates Stadium, the late kick-off on Sunday. Arsenal 0, Man City 2. I think on paper we expected City to win, but was it as clear-cut in the end, do you think? Or, you know?
Yeah.
It was probably one of the most convincing wins I've seen.
Yeah. Man City totally dominated everything.
Yeah.
What Arsenal tried to throw at them.
Raheem Sterling was unbelievable.
That goal, that's a very good goal.
First half, he was what was it, Mustafi, where I think he just tied him in and knocked
Yeah,
at
when
one point.
Czech made the save.
Yeah,
He
He was cutting out then out. Mustafi didn't know where he was. He thought he was back in Germany for about half an hour.
No, I just think Sterling played very well on this side. Him and Mendy linked up perfectly. Benjamin Mendy's going to be like a new signing for Manchester City, isn't he?
Did he play for them? What do you think?
He played a couple of games and he got a really long
few
injury,
games,
but he was very good in this game, and he's showing what City really missed last year in a way, because a lot of the times in a few games they were kind of suspect on the left hand side. In the left back area they had to play Laporte out there at some points, and Fabian Delph as well. You know what I mean? So you know, it kind of like square peg round hole sort of thing. But now they got Mendy back. Can he stay fit? I think he'd be like a new signing. Like I said, I think he was amazing in this game.
Yeah, he's so powerful as well. If he goes past the player, you're not catching him.
No, you're not. No.
Or at least you're not getting the ball off him when he's running full speed. City, I think City will win it, but not as
it frightens me though that
he did.
This was a Man City team that didn't have David.
Oh yeah,
didn't
I
have
know this. Yeah.
It's just ridiculous.
That's scary.
How strong is their squad?
Yeah.
There's no, it shouldn't be allowed.
No,
it shouldn't be there.
No, you're right. Financial fair play needs to get involved in this. To be honest,
The only thing where they probably need to bring in another player is like
we're still top of the league though, so I'm not bothered.
The only player where they probably need to bring in to like compete with Fernandinho.
Yeah,
they're quite weak in that area. If he's like kind of the kind of like anchor, if he goes up,
Jordan Henderson's better.
If he goes up, everyone else will go up. And if he drops back, everyone's back. And they can just hit teams on the break with De Bruyne and Aguero and Sterling. I'm worried when I play them.
Yeah, so
I'm going to be worried.
I think even though we're probably the closest team in the league that can match them player for player, or you know what I mean, I'm still scared at the prospect of playing them.
This is the thing,
especially away.
I personally only see City dropping points. I know, obviously, they will
against us, maybe.
They will drop points along the way, but the only team I go, yeah, I think they will pick up points. As usual, I think you will pick up points against them. But then it's where you will drop points. You always do it. You will probably go to Cardiff and get a 1-1 draw or something, and then go to Old Trafford the week after and beat them 7-0 or something.
I mean, that'd be good.
Exactly the sort of thing that you will do. Though, where the City will just steamroll team after team. I mean, they made. I don't know what Arsenal are going to be like, but they made that Arsenal team look bang average.
Yeah, but do you think that's Arsenal just being bang average, because their signings haven't really, you know, if you look at the signings they've made, the only exciting signing that you can really look at is probably Guendouzi, who he's only exciting because he's probably got a good future ahead of him. Other than that, Socrates doesn't really fill you with confidence. Bernd Leno didn't even. I think Torreira maybe, yeah, but Bernd Leno didn't even play in this game. Czech got the nod ahead of him, and look at how that turned out. You know what I mean? Nearly put one on his own
Czech improved in the second half with his feet.
I
don't think
he's like
he had a good game, Petr Cech.
Yeah.
He didn't distribution is horrific.
Yeah.
But in terms of what you want your goalie to do, it just make saves. He had a good game.
Yeah.
He did. He can't.
I don't think you can persist with a goalkeeper who's not comfortable playing out from the back like the way Unai Emery wants to.
Yeah,
They brought in
a goalkeeper can
yeah.
make a massive difference. Look, like I can speak from
if
experience with
Arsenal,
Mignolet.
if Arsenal fans feel Petr Cech needs to come out the side, Arsenal fans will make sure
Yeah.
Emery knows that.
The fans have already turned on
Yeah.
Cech like last year, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
he hasn't got credit in the bank
Yeah.
to make mistakes, has he? Where Leno's can't.
We had with Tim out for 2 seasons. We had to abuse him really to get him off the team.
It's true though. We did.
We
We've had to abuse.
He
Even
started.
then, he still got games.
Yeah,
Right, we've got
He
he
interact
won't
with
on a
fans.
t-shirt for Jay, and we had to abuse him on a t-shirt for Jay.
sorry, sometimes these things have got to happen. But
It's got to be ruthless to get a result, haven't you, mate?
yeah,
We're
I think
learning.
Arsenal will be okay, but I don't think they would do very well against the teams currently above them
In and
or
around.
who
them, yeah.
finished above them last
They
season.
won't drop out the top
Yeah.
7.
Do you think Arsenal could go into a North London derby and win it?
No.
I don't think
No.
that. I think Tottenham
No.
are firmly will be firmly in control this
Maybe
year.
at home, it's a bit different at home, but away, no.
No. But I think this Tottenham side are very settled. Arsenal are in a massive transition. You know, let's look at it a wider scope. They're definitely not going to get. I don't think they're going to get in the top 4 this year. I don't think they're in, even if Man United and Tottenham have a really bad season, I think they're going to be closer to dropping out and having Everton coming closer up to them than they are getting into the top 4.
Look at Arsenal's team, and no one other than Ramsey, Aubameyang, and maybe Lacazette will get into any. Well, they're the only 3 players who would probably maybe get into any other like top 6s teams. The rest of them, nah. I think Hector Bellerin is awful.
Another one who got Messarosa.
Yeah.
I genuinely, he's another one who I watch time and time again, and Arsenal fans seem dead set on convincing you he's world class.
Do you know what though? I'd
don't
actually
see
say the opposite, because a lot of I mean, Arsenal fan TV is the one where you watch, but a lot of the fans.
It's apparently AF TV.
Oh right, yeah, it's well,
rebranded.
rebranded.
Because they had
Yeah,
talks with the club.
yeah. Well, yeah, you know, on AF
They're
TV.
more famous than the club.
Yeah, no,
I don't know. I haven't read the article, but that
no,
was the
well,
headline.
AFTV anyway. Whatever they want to call themselves, you know, they've been very vocal about Ozil that he needs to come out the side already. First game of the season. Do you know what I mean? It's Arsenal always have had these games for the past 6-7 years. They lose at home first game of the season, don't they? You know, they have it against Villa, against us, West Ham 3-0. I remember as well, and they always seem to. Yeah, they've had bad results the first game of the season, and then they've gone on to do quite well. But I just feel like it'll be a lot different this time round. I think Emery, it's been clear that he's worked on the back 4. He's worked on the transitioning, from the goalkeeper and playing out. That seems to be what he's worked at, and it doesn't seem like he's give the midfield or the attackers any sort of attention so far. Maybe that's a tactic, to keep them solid, but it hasn't worked in his first game of the season anyway.
After 20 years of the same manager, telling you the same instructions to go out on a match, it's
gonna be hard.
It's obviously going to take time.
Yeah.
Arsenal. I can't be bothered with Arsenal.
No, I was just
more
because
already.
to be honest, I was just thinking about the Bernardo Silva goal. To be honest, it was a great finish.
Yeah, well, they had the chance just before that when Aguero went through. And he should have passed
He
it.
should have passed it.
But
Yeah,
then you could argue he should score.
He to be fair, I think he looked at the bench, and I think Pep might have been having a go at him because he sort of looked and then he kind of pointed as to say like, well, I was going to pass, but I kind of thought that the goal was better. But De Bruyne was right in there, wasn't he?
Well,
The ball.
just going back to Petr Cech, he made a similar tackle as Jagielka.
Oh yeah.
He made the save from the
hell.
free kick. He made the double save from the free kick and the rebound to that shot. He made the save and he goes in with his ankle above the foot.
Yeah.
So
see that's the thing. At what point is winning the ball more important than endangering the opponent? Because it's basically the same kind of contact as Jagielka's made, but the only difference is that Jagielka hasn't got the ball. But
Jagielka did get the ball though.
Yeah, he never.
He did.
Jagielka
He
got the ball.
Yeah, well, he got the ball of his ankle, mate. That's what he got. He took the.
Well, he still won the ball, hasn't he?
Yeah, the ball of his ankle.
Whether he's won the ball
Petr
with his
Cech.
head or his knob, he's won the ball.
Petr Cech. I think the reason why Petr Cech hasn't obviously because it's nowhere near the fouls because Laporte is the one that's come towards Cech in a way because Cech's just making a save at his box, but you know what I mean. Jagielka it was a red.
It wasn't a red card. It wasn't.
I thought it was a yellow. I did, to be fair.
If that's a red card, the game's gone.
Well, the game went a while ago, mate. The game's just far and beyond what it used to be, anyway. You know, challenges like that, you probably could make them in the past, and it is still a foul. It is a foul. You know, it's not controlled. That's why he's received a red card. I can't believe we're still talking about Everton. That's why he's received the red card, so you can see
not
why.
Not surprising from a Liverpool fan, is
No,
it?
I know, yeah.
Jesus Christ.
We're top of the league. What do you
think about Usmanov?
I think Andy Robertson's the best left back in the league, mate, and Alisson's way better than
Not even the third best left back.
Alisson's way better than fucking T-Rex Arnold.
Alisson needs to get some pseudocreme for that face, I tell you.